welcome to today's episode where we have something a little different today than usual. We have a very special guest, Anthony Margarit. Anthony is here to talk about gutters, and then don't leave because then we're going to do a little flip and we're going to talk about his second passion.
Yeah. Whiskey.
Whiskey. I was going to say whiskey and bourbon?
Well, yeah, bourbon, whiskey, and we'll get into all that when we get into that second segment.
Explain the difference. So, but we never mix gutters with whiskey.
No.
Right?
No.
Not a good mix. Not a good mix.
A lot of ladder work there and getting up the high angles. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Keep the whiskey out of it.
Absolutely. Okay, so tell us the name of your business.
So I'm Margarit Seamless Guttering. I also own a company that's called Superior Roof and Gutter.
Okay.
Just kind of merging into the roofing side of things. For right now, I pretty much contract that kind of stuff out. But guttering is my game. I've been in guttering for I'm going on 17 years now.
Oh, wow.
And it's just something I actually enjoy doing. So it's just fun.
Okay. So 17 years of guttering. And that sounds about right because I've been using you about that long.
Yep,
So
it's been a while. Century 21 has been a huge friend to Margarit Seamless Guttering.
Yes, yeah. Well, I will say there's not a lot of local companies, so it's great to have local because then when something goes wrong, we've got the local guy. But also what I love is because you are local, we're not waiting 2 to 3 weeks to get a bid. We're
Right.
not waiting 2 to 3 weeks to be able to see what you have to offer. So that's a big difference. So keeping it local, big deal.
Yeah,
big
for instance, today I got a phone call and I was on my way to Muskogee and it just happened to be in between Fort Gibson and Tahlequah. So I was like, well, I'll get you on my way back from Muskogee, and was able to give them a bid today. So it's just the beauty of being home, like you're saying. And I'm also a full-time firefighter. And so that really helps because not only do you have my word as a guarantee, you're going to reach me at the fire station or anywhere and I won't be able to get away from you. So if you have a problem, you're going to find me one way or another.
Absolutely. And you know your way around a ladder.
I do.
Right?
Yep. Whether it's on a truck or on the ground, yep, I do.
Either way. Okay, so let's talk about gutters. This is one of the things that drives me crazy about our market. The average home does not come with gutters. It's kind of like when you buy a car and you want the extra rims or the tinted windows, but not really, because to me it's more like a seatbelt. Sure. It really is needed. Tell us about the benefits of gutters.
So the benefits of gutters is going to be your foundation, your siding, the fascia of the house. It's going to protect any type of paint or surface that can actually rot. So when we install guttering, our whole goal is to move water away from the house. And so whether that be in drainage pipe or above ground with some splash pads or splash guards, the ultimate goal is to get the water from the roof so it's not penetrating the ground right by the foundation, which is around here, you're going to have a concrete foundation on a home. The less we get that foundation to move, the better it is for the home because there's no cracking. And being in real estate, the first thing you're looking for is people are looking for cracks in the walls and doors that are, little cattywampus there. But the whole goal with guttering is to move the water away from the house to keep your foundation solid.
Yeah, and it's so important. What I hear sometimes is people say, I'm not worried about it because it's a super flat lot. Let me tell you guys, that's more of a problem than the home that's on the side of the hill. Do you agree?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
The hill, you're looking at erosion.
Right.
And then, and that's from the house and away. On a flat surface, you're looking at that settling water.
Yeah.
So typically I like to get with the contractors. That's my whole goal, is to make sure that contractors know that it should be a part of building.
Yeah.
Incorporate it into the cost of the home, get it out of the way. I will love to work with any contractor out there. I'll tell you where all the downspouts are going. Please let me know before you pour concrete, because that means we can get pipe under the ground. So before you pour sidewalks, driveways, anything like that, we can stick 4-inch pipe under the ground, whether it's just a short little piece to get it going and then we tie onto it later. It's just important that we're not dumping water into flower beds that's been surrounded by concrete, because then there's nowhere for that water to go, and then I got to put ugly, downspout pieces and make them come to the concrete and running over, and then if that water's running over the sidewalk, we got ice in the winter, and it creates a mess. So if we can just get underneath the concrete and get all the contractors on the same page.
That's such a valid point, because I've seen people go in and do gorgeous landscaping, and then like this epic rain that we just had Friday night, Saturday, destroyed, trashed. It's like the landscape is now in the neighbor's lawn.
Mulch is running down the hill, everything. So even not even just pipe for my downspouts, but even like if you're going to value your home and do all this to it, you might as well put drainage in, because even a 6x6 little ground drain for all that water to get into, because if you're trapping it with the house and concrete, it's got to go somewhere. And around here, it doesn't leach as fast as we need it to. So especially when we get 5 inches of rain like we did a few days ago. So
Yeah. And it's for all seasons, right?
Yes.
So one of the things that I found out the hard way is that when we have the droughts, because that happens, the soil shrinks up, right? And pulls away from the foundation. And then you get one of those epic rains, and you have all kinds of problems that you never knew existed.
So if you have those that crack in the ground next to a foundation, and then a bunch of water gets in there, and especially, it can happen close to the wintertime when we are very dry in the wintertime. Oklahoma weather, we're talking freezing, extreme freezing one day and 70 the next.
Yeah.
But if it freezes, all that water next to your foundation that may have penetrated that concrete, not only are we moving the foundation, we're potentially cracking that foundation.
Absolutely.
And then you have to call a whole nother company, and it's $40,000-$50,000 to probably get it repaired, when we could have probably done guttering and got that problem solved for around anywhere from $15,000 to $5,000, depending on the size of the house.
Okay, I love that you brought up the amount, because honestly, people just have no concept. Is it the cost of a new outfit or the cost of a car?
Sure.
And I love that, because on average, like a standard 1,500 square foot home in Southridge is in that $1,500 to $1,800
that'd be about
to
right.
save you spend more on that on your mulch and your landscape. So why not salvage your foundation, your lawn, all of that. So love that.
And guttering is priced by the foot. It varies depending on the application, whether we go 2-story, whether the builder put 1x2 trim up there instead of a drip edge, because then I have to use a different hanger. There's so many aspects, and I use everything that the guttering companies provide me. So I don't just make shift and, it'll work, So I use different style hangers for different applications. So the price varies, but a good ballpark for price per foot, and I do 5 or 6 inch gutters. 6-inch gutters, I will recommend that if you have anything over a 612 pitch on your house, 6-inch gutters is where you need to go. I'm not saying that in all applications, especially if you just have a small hip roof and it's a 6 or 712, we can get away with 5-inch gutter. But if you have intricate designs and multiple gables and 2-story stuff, you have so many valleys, water coming into specific areas, 5-inch gutter is going to be overwhelmed on your medium rains, whereas 6-inch guttering will be able to handle it. So back to the price, you're looking at anywhere from $6 to $10 a foot, depending on whether we have to do 5-inch or 6-inch, depending on the style of hanger. That does not include screens. A lot of people think it includes screens. Now, fall in Oklahoma, if you have a bunch of leaves, in the long run, it's cheaper for me to come out and install screens one time versus charging you multiple times a year to come and clean, because it's also a price per foot regardless. You may only have one section of guttering that needs to be cleaned out, but by the time I mobilize my guys and fuel and time, we're cleaning your entire guttering.
Right.
And whether I'm there an hour or 6 hours, it's all by the foot, so it's going to be a flat rate.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And do you think so what we're talking about is the gutter guard?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us the benefits of that.
So the benefits of that is basically like the ultimate thing, and I stick with one style right now because it encompasses our standard oak leaves that drop those little oak tassels all the way down to pine needles, or all I should say all the way up to pine needles, because those things are a nuisance when it comes to guttering.
Yes.
So if all that stuff builds up in the gutter, water might still flow to the downspouts, but once that water starts pushing the pine needles and all those oak leaves and tassels, little tassel things that fall off the tree, well, those will clog the guttering up. And once that happens, now you're going to have issues. That water is going to start backing up. It's going to start rolling over to the fascia. You'll get unwanted rot behind the guttering, or you'll get drip lines, or water dripping behind, and that's usually how people notice that something's wrong with their guttering. Either there's nothing coming out the downspouts, or they have water dripping on the backside of their gutters.
Oh gosh. And I've seen a couple of different things where that went horribly wrong. They had not cleaned the gutters. We had a heavy, heavy rain and then a hard freeze, and the water did little ice fingers up underneath the shingle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then caused a leak on the roof. So what was a very
That's a new one for me.
inexpensive, clean your gutters turned into a new roof and some sheetrock and yada, yada. And then as a realtor, my absolute pet peeve, driving around town and seeing trees growing in people's gutters.
Seen it. I pulled out roots. You almost want to replant it somewhere else. You're like, this little guy made it.
Yes, but it's so bad for your home.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, because what you're doing is you're creating a habitat for bugs. And so if there's that much soil, shingle material, grit, all that in and of itself is heavy. Mm-hmm. Guttering is not designed to hold a ton of weight.
Right.
So I always say this as well, is the guttering is only as strong as your fascia.
Oh.
So if I'm putting, if you have a truss and all you have is a 1x6 on there, and that's the only thing you have as a fascia and no 2x4 behind it, and I'm screwing my guttering into it, I'm only as strong as what that fascia is going to be able to hold.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. And you had mentioned about like bugs, mosquitoes love. Like if you're having a mosquito problem, that could be an issue,
100%,
right?
Yeah. Stagnant guttering, stagnant water inside your guttering can definitely create mosquitoes because you'll never see them.
Yeah.
And they're up high. They're out of the elements. They typically will probably have a little bit of cover over them. It's not going to be flowing. They want stagnant water so their eggs can hatch.
Right. And so what is the cost, or how do you price out the screening? That's per foot also?
Yeah. So screens is one of the only things that I don't make, when it comes to, I have to buy those separately. Now, Wait,
you make the gutters?
I make the gutters. So I have a machine that seamlessly rolls out the guttering.
I did not know that. I guess I thought you went to Lowe's and bought some gutters.
No, if you need a 500,
you make gutters.
It's seamless. Yeah, so if you have a 500 foot run that you need done, I'll make a 500 foot run, and it comes right out of the back of our truck and box truck that we have, and as long as that roll will keep feeding it, I'll make it.
Holy smokes! Well, you have to have a few hands to put that 500.
Yeah, I'd have to hire a couple extra guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the screen is something that is separate.
It's separate.
Okay.
So I mean, and I don't want to bash obviously any company that sells them in a box store style stuff, but it's just not the same as what I can get. Okay. I've had homeowners say, well, I can go to, the big L store and, buy it for this. And I say, go ahead. I don't want to be rude to them. I'm like, Go ahead. It's your time now. It's your up and down a ladder. It's installed. Are they installed properly? Because when it comes to homeowners doing stuff, we can. I mean, we're all homeowners. We can. Sure. We can do stuff, but do you know how to do it right? And that's the key. And countless times I've been called back to fix people's guttering after I installed the gutter, but they didn't want me to install the screens. And so when I get called back to fix their screens, I'll be like, wait a minute, I didn't install your screens.
Oh,
and so they're like, yeah, I know, but I think we did it wrong. They were completely upside down. This one job I went to was completely up. I don't know how you got the screens upside down, but he did. And so we went back and we charged them almost as much as it would have cost us for us to do it right, because now we have to take them off and reinstall them, so it's an extra step. So,
well, you're not going to believe this, but some people actually try to even DIY the sell of their home. Yeah, that crazy, huh?
I wouldn't do that.
He's like, no way would I do that.
No.
So super smart. Hire a professional. It really does make sense in the long run
Yep.
to pay a little more, have someone else who knows what they're doing, take it from start to finish.
Sure.
So love that. Love that. So anything else we should think about as far as when we're doing gutters? Like, can you match colors, or how does the
So
color?
we have quite a bit of colors that we can match.
Now that I know you make it, I'm just like, what?
Yep. So so each at each corner, I have to cut it, obviously.
Okay,
so it
sure,
doesn't
yeah.
make a corner.
Right.
So I seam it with what's called an outside miter or an inside miter. So anytime we come to a joint is where it's cut. And but at that whole piece that's there, they range from 2 foot to, we installed one that was 123 feet. So that, that's huge.
Yeah.
If we get that big, we're also doing 6-inch guttering. So, but things to think about when it comes to guttering is that process. If you're just now building, get with your contractor, say, hey, I want guttering, I want downspouts in specific areas. That means you need to do pipe there. I will put a downspout wherever you want it, unless it's going to affect how the water flows. Take my experience, take my knowledge, let me design your gutter system for you. If it doesn't work out your plan that way, we can figure something out. I install rain chains too. I know you've probably seen those.
I love those.
I know you do.
I
Okay,
love
here's just a warning. Okay.
I don't have any, but I
if-
love them.
if homeowners buy them and they take a downspout off and they do them themselves, get more hangers in that area. Okay, and what I mean by that is inside the gutter there's a hanger, and that's how we screw on, and so it looks like there's the old school style. You stuck a nail through it and you'll see those nail heads through the guttering. Well, now it's an internal hanger. Well, if you're going to do a rain chain, you need at least 3 or 4 hangers up there above that hole, because what happens in the winter to water?
It
Freezes. What's hanging on that gutter? There's no reinforced hanger there to help that out. So it's little details like that, and I don't care to share that kind of stuff. It's stuff I do. I reinforce the guttering whenever we do rain chains. I like them. They're pretty, but I don't. They're aesthetic. That's all they are. Because you really can't control the water 100%, and that's my goal.
Yeah.
Is I literally am basically a water flow manager, if you will.
Okay.
It's just kind of a rain flow thing issue. I want to redirect water away from your house, because that's my number one goal.
Okay.
And make it look as pretty as possible. And if my captain in-law, Jody in-law, sees this and he gets mad at me for not saying that, I feel like guttering is the external, you ready for this? Crown molding of the house. So we can change it up. So when you have a contoured piece of guttering, it looks pretty on the house. So I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of these houses are going white with black guttering.
Yes. Yeah.
Bronze is a really pretty color. Burnished slate, I guess, is called.
I love the bronze.
The bronze. But if you think of contrasting colors on your home, that's the way I like to go. And I will say this, the lighter the color, the dirtier it's going to look quicker. So you're going to have to power wash your guttering to make it maintain that color longer, versus black or dark charcoal or bronze or even some of the reds out there. And don't be afraid to mix and match the color of the downspout with the color of the guttering. So I like doing a lot of white and black with copper penny downspouts, especially if they're cedar posts. Why put a funky color on a cedar post? We want to maintain that beautiful color of the post, right? So I'll do a copper penny, which is not real copper, but it'll maintain that copper color its entire life. It won't tarnish, it won't do anything. So it's just...
Is it real copper, or
It's
is
not.
it? Okay, I was
No.
going to say, because that would be real expensive.
Yeah, no, copper, I don't do copper jobs because they are
Okay.
really expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like white glove kind of hanging, so that way it patinas all together.
Oh, gotcha.
Not a fan of copper.
Okay.
I mean, I am if the right person wants to pay me to do it, but
It's not actually feasible
No.
for the standard average home.
no, because I mean, honestly, a house that wants copper and that's going to be that big of a house, they've got the money. If I did a standard install, probably, and we're thinking, maybe golf course size home or anything, I'm probably $6,000-7,000 for a regular gutter. Now, if we bump it to copper, we're probably talking into the tens of thousands.
Oh, wow.
So we're
Okay.
talking probably close to 30,000 just for guttering.
He's like, well, forget that copper gutter. You were going to get it, weren't you? Oh, gold. She wants to go with gold.
Well, you would like the copper penny then, because I
It
do that
is
on a
gold.
lot of white houses, even with black trim. The copper penny looks really good.
Okay, cool.
So.
And something I want to point out is that we have had clients in the past that when they did an insurance claim, the insurance company knocked them on what they were willing to pay out because the guttering had not been installed properly, was not completely the way it needed to be. And then there was something else. So it really is important that if you are trying to DIY it yourself, in the long run, it really could cost you,
Sure.
it costs them their insurance payout because of that. So just be mindful of that. And I think it's always good to just call the expert, let him walk you through it, make an informed decision rather than making some assumptions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and a really quick note on insurance. They typically only want to cover 10 to 12 feet of a gutter.
Oh.
Because that's where they see the dents. Get me involved as quick as you can on the insurance process, because if you have a 40-foot piece of guttering, and most insurances are replace as is or as was or like new, if I have to put a cut and then put a splice in there, you no longer have seamless guttering. So the insurance company, they do have to pay for that entire piece, regardless of they think there's only 10 foot of it. So I can't go back with pieced guttering. I have to go back with seamless guttering. There can't be a seam in there. And I've had plenty of arguments, and I've won all of them when it comes to insurance companies.
Okay.
So we've bumped people getting more, and I've gone through taking pictures of more damage than even the insurance adjuster has. And so
always.
exactly. And so I'll have to turn all that stuff in, and I've gotten full replacements where they were telling them they were only going to give them a couple $100, and then they ended up turning around and giving them like $3,800
Oh my
to replace
gosh.
all the guttering.
That is
So
fantastic.
it's kind of a cool thing for me, because I was the process of that. But then again, it's, I want to make sure that my customer's taken care of.
Absolutely. So if you've had hail damage or wind damage or something like that,
Yep.
contact him before you call your insurance company.
Yeah, well, let them know, obviously let your insurance know immediately, because the longer you take, that process can take a while. But it's also, there's going to be probably a lot of people in the neighborhood if we had a hailstorm or a windstorm. So
Absolutely.
that claim processing can take a while. So get on the ball and then call me immediately, and we can get out there and take a look at it, even before the adjuster gets there.
Okay.
So.
And what is the best way for someone to track you down? TikTok or?
No, not TikTok. I do have a TikTok. You can go follow me on TikTok. So my phone number, it's my personal phone. It's a work personal, everything. I answer it all the time.
Guys, this is what I love about local, right?
Yep.
Because you can call and have a conversation.
Yep.
So we're going to put your information below. So if you are needing to upgrade or just get them installed or to get some screening,
Yep.
reach out to him. Bids are free.
Bids are free.
Bids are free. So what have you got to lose? So I love that. Well, I'm super excited that you came out to give us all of the gutter info.
Yep.
But we also wanted you to join us today for your second passion.
Yep. So
okay.
I'm a collector whiskey connoisseur, if you will. I've been sitting there thinking how I would want to present that, because I do enjoy drinking it. But I have my collection. I don't really buy a whole lot much these days, because I have a really good collection. I think I probably have over 750 bottles of different types of bourbons, whiskeys, rye.
Jill, how many bottles of liquor do you have in your home right now?
Less than 10.
Less than 5. You're behind, Jill. 750.
Yeah, and not all of them, not all of them are high end. It's just that connoisseur in me to try new things.
Yeah.
So
how did you get started with this process?
So honestly, back at an early age, I've always liked just Maker's Mark. And so Maker's Mark is just kind of your basic, and even back in the day was your basic bourbon whiskey. I mean, it's one of the prettiest facilities in Kentucky. They have, it's mass produced, if you will, but I've always liked the flavor of Makers, and I'd mix it with some Coke, or I was never really a huge Crown Royal fan, just because it was too sweet for me.
Okay.
I don't like super sweet whiskeys. But yeah, today we're going to try some stuff. I've done a lot of bourbon trail stuff throughout Kentucky and Tennessee. Went to a lot of the distilleries. I've been a part of some tasting groups and involved with a lot of communities, even in the TikTok world of like the bourbon TikTok community.
He's TikTok famous, y'all.
I'm not quite famous. It's not. It's a little
We're
over,
gonna make you
little over
famous after
9,000
this.
followers. I want. My goal is to get over 10, then I'll be happy.
That's good. That's good.
But I do the firefighting stuff on there, fun stuff. Done guttering stuff on there, bourbon, everything. So I go live a lot with people all around the world.
Yeah,
talking
because
about
you
whiskey.
just went to Ireland
We went to Ireland last year. Yeah.
for the whiskey.
Was it? Oh, we did. Yeah, we actually did. We went to the Jameson distilleries, and I did bring back some really good stuff. I like Irish whiskey. I think I bought those bottles more as a souvenir than anything.
Yeah.
I haven't opened any of them. I bought a couple bottles there that you can only get in Ireland. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
You can probably have them ordered or someone ship them to you, maybe. But it was just kind of nice going through the distilleries and seeing the end result of our bourbon, which is American.
Right.
And it can only be considered American. They're using our bourbon barrels to age their whiskey in.
Yeah.
And that's what gives their Irish whiskey a little more flavor and a little more color. So it takes our barrels here to make their whiskey good.
See, most people don't realize that. Yeah, that's a big deal.